Day to day, walking down the issue, nigga, they motherfucking lost the whole company mind to the issue. Nigga, you couldn't be serious in that marriage council in the day to day, nigga, towards a day to day within the movements, a gas within a step, a movement within the stash to the mission, a gas to gassing. On the move with a day to day, just walking down the avenue, a stash with a mission like on the steps, like with Bitcoin, just on the cash with the unit, like on the gas on the move, like on the boat with the cash on the hundreds, on the mission, riding all the way through. On Tesla charged up with the money, on mission, on gases, on the beat, on the cash, on diamonds, on push and repeat, on the stash with the hundreds, sitting up on the gas, counting money on missions, hundred of the cash, on the movement, on the stash with it, walking down on the cash, just getting into it on the gas, moving on the movements, on the pack with the lips, with the fences, the hundreds of the value, going down the stash with it, going to the move on the cash, on the steps with it, like a movement of the cash with it, on the gas with it, going to a step, walking down the movement, like cashing with it, like on Tesla, like on SpaceX, on getting it, like cashing on the movement, like about that business, you know what I mean? Like off the mattress, like off the popcorn, like on light switch with it, like to the values, like on the glass with the move, like 100 with a gas, like on Apple with the cash, like hundreds with a mission, like going through it on some like values, like going all the way like to the button with it, like with the move, like stepping on the gas, prepping with a mission, like on the values with the cash with it, like on the movement, like with the last with it, like on the hundred with the move, like cutting up a tree, like within the value, like stepping on gases, on the checks, like Adidas on every move, like hundred on mission, like on the cash with it, like in the field, literally hundreds with the apple, on the cash with a mission, on the gas for Bitcoin, like Microsoft on the cash with it, like 100 with a mission, like gassing within the steps, like extra, like on 50, like on gases, like 100, like on the 5 on mission, like cash is like to the T with it, like steppy, like motions, literally, like on the gas, like on some like poking, like stabbing, like hundreds with it, like on the crab, like on the gas going up, like on the cash with the movement, on the squad with the value, like stocked up, like off a sale on mission, like off of Jeff with it, like hundreds on the cash, like walking down the mission, like going through a step, like no lookers, like on the gas, like on the pull up with it, like on the walk down on mission, like on the gas, like with Apple, like on bills, like off the water, like on trade, like with the house, like on moves, like icy whites, like on the gas with the rolls, like on mission, like steppy, like hundreds with it, like on the packs, like literally though, cashing with a mission, like on a mission, like red and black, like pieces, like chess, like hundreds with it, like best, like on why, hundreds on the movement, like on why, like gas, hundreds on the mission, like steppy, like meta, like cashing with it, you know what I'm saying? Like gassing with the honey, like on the pack, on the shelves with the money, like on the mission, like on the Exxon, like gassing with it, like time, like motion, like Boinks, like AP, like Risley, like avenues, like hundreds, like walking down, like structure, like cash, like yachts, like Visa, like Coca-Cola, like a move, a cash with it, like a movement, like a step, like a Louis, like a ink to the value, 100, like a gas, like a mission, like a check, like a value with it, like a gas to the move, like a 500, like a typo value, like a step to the mission, like a gas, like on 100 with it, like on the business credit, like on action, like brand new, like cashing, like walking down the movement, like stepping, like bagging, like black rocking, like Vanguard, like really about that action, like snapping, like on that cash, like Google, like hundreds, like D&Bs, like structuring, like gassing, like walking through a movement, like stepping, like treeing, like hundreds with it, like on the move, on the cash with a mission, like riding it all the way out, like off a chain with it, like off the bread, like at the table, like WPT, like one gas, like hundreds, like Williams, like Step, like Vest Bank, like cash, like on the gas with culture, like moves, like wave, like hundreds, like surf, like pack, like move, like mattress, like fuel, like cash, like move, like mesh, like gas, like feet, like hundreds, like packs with it, like stashes, like move, like trees, like values, like cash, like move, like hundreds, like missions, like gas, like money, like gases, to the gas, to the hundreds, to the mission, to the steps, to the product, to the gas with it, off the lanes, on 100 to the movement, on the gas with everything, walking it down, brand new, 100 ass gas, a water move, on cash is with it, on a mission, 100 with the gas is on the hundreds, on the radio with it, giving back ass nigga to the values, 100 ass plug, a shot with the move, a pack to the gas, 100 with a move, a rubber with the cash with it, 100 with a gold, a stash with a loop with the cash on the mission, raking it all the way in on the cash, on the motion, on the insurance, on the gas with a move, the values with the steps, on the chat with the G, the hundreds on the double play, the motion on the lottery, mega millions on cash, movements on the last, on hundreds, on mission, structures on the gas, on the motions, on the packs, on the gas with it, hundreds on the stash, on movements, on the sale, on the gas, bad boys on hundreds, on the mission, structuring out on the gas, on hundreds, on Adam Silvers, on the packs with the movements, on the shot with the value, on the cash with the mission, on the Chevron, on the gas with it, on the hundreds on the move, the pack on the gas with Yahoo, on the cash with the mission, structuring all the way out on the cash, the extras, the gas, the values, the hundreds, the movements, the pipes, the gases, the Bitcoin, that last, that mesh with that diamond on that apple, on that cash with it out that roar, on that movement for sure, on mission, on the cash, L'Oreal, NASDAQ, on the movement, on the cash with it, on the Johnson Johnson, on the stash, on the motion, keep it all the way stashy to the hundreds, on the cash with the baby powder, the hundreds on the mission, on the black rock, structuring all the way through, the gas to a move, the gas to 100, prepping about that action, walking down steps on the cash, on the gas with bird's eye view with the money, the hundreds on going up, on the mission, structuring out the packs with Google, it's in business as a gas, the packs on the gas with it, Shark Tank on the movement, hundreds on the mission, cutting grass, as a pack with cutting trees, a stash with cutting leaves, a mission with cleaning pools, a cash with a window stash, a BOK move, a stash of the gas with the flow, money on the wood, on the stash, on the hundreds, on the getting it, paid for, on the stash with it, a hundreds at a mission, a gas in the middle, a pack with brand new, a cash with a movement, money making cash like a move, a cash with a fireplace, a hundreds on the gas with a day, emotions on the 100 with a gas with it, on the plates with a mission about that action on that gas, with that 100 on that mission, on that stash with it, a cash on the move, a value on the stash with 100, on the crypto value, a stash with a mission, walking it all the way out at a value, 100 with it, a cash with a move, walking all the way through with the steps on the gas, walking it down on mission, hands on at a value on the stash with it, the hundreds with the cash on Ticketmaster, cashing all the way through, a pack on the gas, a TV personality.